Welcome to another edition of What Keeps You Up at Night, the Life of a Rural Entrepreneur. Today, we are joined by Chelsea Adamson from Social Health and Fitness. Welcome.
Hey there.
Chelsea, I want to know first what in your life experiences led you to becoming an entrepreneur?
My mom growing up allowed me, she started a business actually as a preteen, as she was starting it. I called it grandma babysitting. And it was extended care into the home for people of retirement age and older. But the entire startup, she looked for grants and had to do canvassing and polls and research. And she went through her local chamber of commerce. She did all of those long, extended processes to get funding and do it all the right way. And I was with her for all of it. I stood on the corner with clipboards and helped her fill out all of those things. And I really enjoyed the startup process of it. And then I liked the freedom as we got older and she continued running the business and I became her staff. I liked the background of it. Surprisingly enough, the payroll, the interviewing process, I just fully immersed myself into it, right into my early 20s. So I knew wherever I ended up, business ownership and creating my own, whatever that may be, was going to be for me. I just needed to find something that I was passionate about and was going to allow me to live the life that I wanted to live.
Wow. So that's so unusual
Yeah.
to love that part of it, the payroll and, like the whole back end, if you will, of the business. But
Yeah.
what an amazing training ground for you.
She
Wow.
built me for it. I don't know if she did it intentionally, but she'll remind me now.
And so tell me about fitness and your journey with that. Do you have a story about why you're so passionate about it?
It was, you know what? I actually had a client today and we talked about it, and it was something I had completely forgotten. And I broke my leg in elementary school, and I wasn't allowed to participate in gym for almost an entire year. And so, what I had to do instead was essays on sports. So, I grew to love sports because I was researching them and I liked the paperwork back end of things. I liked learning how things actually worked. And then went into high school and realized I didn't like sports. I didn't like sports at all. Um, but luckily enough, I went to a school that had a weightlifting program. And so for 2 semesters, I learned about weight training and how to do it properly, how to grow muscle, how to do conditioning classes. So I found a new appreciation just for the logistics side of fitness. Um, and then getting a little bit older, I fell into a career of hairstylist. Right out of high school, just wanted to get a trade under my belt. And so my career happened a lot quicker than it did for my friends. And so they were still in university and having a good time and staying out really late. And I couldn't because I had work and my career already on my plate. So stepping back from that kind of young party friends, I had to find something else to do and friends that wanted to do something that I wanted to do. And it ended up at the gym. And it started small. And a man named Tim Love came up to me in the gym and said, "Do you want some help doing that a little bit better?" And I said, "Yeah, what do you mean?" He's like, "You've got a good back on you. Do you want to do a bodybuilding competition one day?" And I said, "Let's do it." And then I became a competitive bodybuilder and then said, I will never actually do this for a living. I like this as my passion. And then just continued getting more and more involved. And as soon as you give me facts or understanding or the back end of things and knowledge of how to make things better, then I'm invested in it, and it just continued to grow. Luckily for me, the place that I wanted to live and end up and live my happily ever after needed a gym, so what an opportunity. I want to be a business owner. I have all of the training because I've enjoyed learning about it. This place needs a gym, ran as a business. What are the odds?
So it was meant to be. It was one of those kismet or, life path kind of things. And what an amazing story. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that.
I will say it's like a catch 22 with it. We we always knew we would want to move back here. We knew it would probably be a gym. We started very quickly. My partner and I call him my partner in life, my business partner, my life partner. Um, but we knew it would probably be a gym, so we started following anything fitness related for 150 kilometers around us, or where we wanted to end up,
Hmm.
for, yeah, I would say 8 years leading up to it. When we
Wow.
actually ended up moving here, it was because we were about to have our second child. And when we moved here, there was no fitness space available, especially one that offered an opportunity for your kids to be around. So there was a need immediately. And I will say openly, it was not the right time for us as a family to start a business, but it was the right time for this community, and I would never do it another way.
Wow. Okay. That
It, yeah, it's like yes, but it was hard, and it is hard. We got little guys at home.
well, so that was going to be my next question. What particular challenges have you faced in entrepreneurship? And not just as an entrepreneur, and I mean, yes, there's lots of those challenges, but as a woman entrepreneur in a
Yeah,
rural community.
yeah. So we've got an interesting setup. My partner Justin, he was born and raised here. We met out west. Like from that first kiss, it was we're going to move back home. It's probably going to be a gym that we open up, but we are going to be business owners and we are going to live the white picket fence life with babies and live happily ever after. And so then 8 years later, it all starts. Almost 10 years later at this point, it all kind of starts coming to be, but not quite how we played out. I mean, I never lived in a town this small before. It's not drastically small, but it's much smaller than something that I was used to, uh, and just everything was run different. So me with my brain working in A, B, C, D all the time into a smaller town where it's a lot of like handshakes and yeah, we'll see you later. It's like, oh, we're not gonna like write something up and sign something right now. We're gonna have coffee, which has been wonderful. But it was such a brain. It felt so much more relaxed in the beginning, which made me scared. um, it's all played out very, very well for me so far. The other challenge was, and still is, and it's a problem. And I don't know if it's just this area, but it's everywhere. Is for someone with a family, there's no childcare anywhere. And I have two kids. One is when we first moved here, and when we first opened up the gym, the my baby was 6 months old, and my daughter was 2. So there was nowhere for the 2 year old or the 6 month old to go. So it was a balance of my partner and I trading off, having car ride naps. And even still, we are balancing between 5 different people trying to have I think there's just 30 hours a week that we need a little bit of help. So it's a balance of grandma and childcare provider and auntie and a little village of people to help with that. And it's expensive. So if I like it, it's what, for 2 kids, it's almost $100 a day, regardless of how much time I'm putting in. That is such a huge expense trying to start up a business and a family that's 2 entrepreneurs running 2 businesses. It's been taxing.
I think that's really ironic, and I mean, I have heard this over and over from women who are moms that are
Yeah.
trying to make a go of it. But isn't it just from hearing your story about your mom starting her own, childcare business, and you learning about that, and then you starting your own business, and there's a lack of childcare in your
Yeah.
community. I think it's kind of like a full circle moment.
Yeah. Actually, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, who has had the most influence on you? I know you said, that you were really influenced by your mom. Is it her, or are there other folks that have had a big influence on you,
Uh,
inspired you?
Yeah, so my mom for sure. She's a grinder. She will get it done and she will make it work and she will do all the things the right way and loves the startup of things. And I wouldn't if she was the one who signed me for a up for a human resources college course like right out of high school just because that's something good to have in your back pocket. So if you need a retention program, I can write one roughly up for you for some reason. But again, it's going to serve me well now. Um, so for sure, she's always just been a businesswoman at heart, but kept family at its core, which is something that's really, really important to me. And it's just a struggle to find balance, trying to be the default parent and be the business owner. But I also have a ton of mentors that I've met out west. And uh, Janine Shillington is one. She's actually a CrossFit Games athlete. She's a gym owner, and she is going to be someone that I will call for help anytime, and I will hope that she has the time to answer my calls. She has two kids that are a couple of years older than me. She is running this really, really successful gym. She hired me um, as I right before I became pregnant with my daughter, and then the pandemic happened, things shut down. She allowed us to just continue our education within the gym setting. And she made it such a great place for people to work and people to be. And she ran her business and she brought her kids in. If people had their kid, it didn't always work out perfect. It never does. But she just went with it and made it, you could tell it was hard, but she didn't put stress out on anybody else. And it was just a special little magic that she had to make it work really well. And I've just always wanted to emulate Janine in business because it's hard sometimes walking in, especially with a job where you're working with clients all day, of like the baby was up all night and the partner and I are trying to decide whose schedule is priority this week in case childcare falls through somewhere. And then you come in and someone says their back's a little bit sore that day. It's like, oh, I want to help you and I want to empathize with you, but life is hard right now. And Janine just taught us in a really healthy way of how to keep it professional but still relatable because people love to know that you're human too.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I wonder that there is so much pressure, and you had a career in, you said hairstyling, I think, right?
Yeah.
Initially, and then now you're in fitness, which are
Mm-hmm.
both really
Client
high
base.
pressure. Yeah, and client based, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so how do you deal with that? I mean, what's your motivation to show up every day for your clients? There are so many benefits to fitness,
Yes.
and you see it.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
So it's, I loved doing hair and I went for that because it made people feel really good. And it was so temporary. So they would leave the chair and they would feel beautiful and they were super happy and feeling great about themselves. And they would come back in 6 weeks later and be like, I'm ugly, make me beautiful again. And so that, I hate that. I don't want you to ever feel that way. So a lot of it was, how do I make people build up confidence and love themselves for what they can do and not necessarily what they look like, but also maybe look a little bit better in the same time, because that's, you're allowed to want to look better. There's nothing against that. So helping people learn what we offer here is very efficient and effective fitness. And what's taken off the most for us is just our general group fitness exercise. And it's not always fun. It's not always a hip hip hooray workout. It's just a grinder that you have to get through, but it's an hour that you spend, and if you can commit 3 to 5 days a week, you're going to see results. And with those results, it's not just the way you look. You're going to be stronger when you go to um, help your parent out of a car when they've hurt themselves. It's going to be easier. If you need to bring all of your groceries inside, it's going to be easier. We had we went to visit Dorset Tower and had to climb up all of those stairs to the very top for the view. Isn't that nice to do that without getting out of breath? Like that is what drives me, because the results of what we're offering here happen so quickly, and the commitment level, as soon as you see those results go up, and all of a sudden the people that came in that said, I want to get rid of my babai arms, turns into, I want to lift 100 pounds over my head in a couple of months. Can you get me there? And so that I love and I live for that mind shift and just new appreciation for what their bodies can do. And that is what keeps me in it at all times.
I love that. And you touched on it a little bit when you were speaking about a mentor, about showing up for clients, even when you are feeling crappy. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not feeling well yourself, but you have to be motivated enough to motivate other
Yeah.
people. How do you do that? I mean, where do you get that energy or zenness from?
Well, my benefit is I am a serious person, a very, very serious person. So, and it's okay for me to not have this is a community now, and it is a rural based gym, a small community of maybe 50 or 60 members that see all of us on a regular basis. And up until just a couple months ago, it was only me that they saw morning till night. I was the only face here. So it was just accepted that some days you were going to get a little bit more of an enthusiastic Chelsea, and other days you are going to get a much more serious Chelsea, but you know what I'm offering right now is what's best for you, and it's going to be fine. You're still going to get the same service that you need, and I'm still going to keep you incredibly safe, and your form is going to be positioned. I'm not going to leave the room and leave you off to your own devices. So it wasn't even necessarily that it's been nice in the smaller setting, because um, people just know me from the community. If I take my partner's last name or share it, they know who I'm related to, right? So everyone is just, I'm related to everybody here, apparently. I didn't even know, but it's, it actually gives me permission almost to have not perfect days, um, and just be who I am then, because they know it's not going to affect the service that being provided. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
it's a
Um,
relief compared to the bigger city. It's been a positive.
oh, I'm glad to hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night? What do you lie awake when, you're trying to fall asleep? What what chases your sleep, I guess?
What keeps me up at night? Um, right now, I'm a small facility. It's my first year. We've had an extremely successful year. We just won new business of the year with the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. So thrilled. And the influx of people coming in because of what we're offering is huge. We are 800, 900 square feet. We are a tiny room, and we shove 12 people in there at a time. Sometimes we'll shove 20 in if we're having a fun day. If we're running an event, we'll shove 50 people in the room. We will do our best. But I can't help everybody. And there's such a need here for fitness to be offered as a business and treated professionally. There is not enough hands on deck to provide these services, and it's wanted. If I wanted to book myself morning till night right now, it would be booked up. So I lay it sleep at night thinking I'm failing my community by not being able to help everyone. But then if I work the next week, morning till night, I'm failing my family because I am not here to put my son to sleep now. And now he wants his dad to put him to bed. No, right? And so it's always, I think it's always going to be, am I balancing things as well as I can be? And I know I am. I know that Justin and I can sit down at the end of the day and we can say, where did we do good this week? Where do we need to improve? Where did I let you fall behind? Where did you fail me? And we're fortunately and passionately very open with each other when it comes to supporting each other, because we are both running small businesses at the same time. So with 2 kids under 3 years old. So it's always just going to be, am I serving my community as best as I can be? But have I put my family on a back burner? Where's my dimmer switches at right now? Am I balancing this well? And that's going to be, I think, just permanently what keeps flicking back and forth. However, there is solutions in the future. We're looking at changing facilities, and actually our development center has been a godsend at helping me kind of pivot business and help me spin the wheels. And even if I've gone in there just driving by with a muffin in hand and thinking, I wonder if they've got time just to like hear me spout off words right now, so I can just throw my ideas out and see if it collectively makes sense to anyone and they can actually lump it into some kind of a business form. So they've been instrumental for me. If I spin, which will happen, once a week, once a month, it's going to happen every once in a while. So when that happens, they have been a really good place to go and help me just create a plan to improve it. So now we have 3 staff members that can work towards other people, which launched last week and worked really, really well. However, letting go of the reins a little bit, very scary. But then just enhancing training for our staff, and then we'll need a little bit bigger of a facility so we can run multiple things at the same time. But I'm confident what's keeping me up at night will pivot into something new very soon. But I'm also always going to find something that needs to be improved on. I know my personality type. I'm aware.
Is there anything that you would have pursued for a career? You did. We talked about hairstyling, but was there anything else that you wanted to pursue, or maybe are thinking about pursuing in the future as a completely different career?
I am in fitness for fitness. I I love business. So I would love to create more of an opportunity for full-time employment for fitness professionals in this area and be able to have that be someone's full-time job instead of their side hustle. It's a career that can be lucrative, it can be rewarding, but if it's not run like a business, it can jump up and crash and burn quickly. And I've seen that. I was really fortunate with my past. I got my hands involved with anything that I could, whether it was management or working for different types of studios or gyms, and found good and bad out of all of them. I took courses from all of them just to see like what works, what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I can create a space where someone can be a full-time professional here, and it's what the community deserves. Because right now it's been very much so passion projects, and I love passion projects, and I believe that you need to have passion for what you're doing, but business should also be treated as a business so people get the services that they deserve and they're paying for. So
I love, yeah,
yeah.
I love that. You're creating opportunities for other women in your community, and that's so needed and so admirable. What is your advice to someone listening or watching this video and thinking about going into business themselves, perhaps in fitness, but anything in a rural community? What would you tell them?
anyone that was looking at opening up a new business in a rural area, I would really suggest knowing your surroundings, knowing the people in your community, getting involved any way that you can. Whether it be if you have kids, joining a bunch of group kids programs is a really easy way. If there's a dog walking group, that's a really easy way to just meet people in the community, and just small things like that to get invested. One thing that I found that I had troubles with was because I'm not born and raised here, there was a little bit of I'm an out of towner rather than a local. Even though I'm married local, technically, it was still different. So just proving like I love this community and I am here because I want to grow here and I want everyone around me to grow here. The other thing was if you're going to open a business, have multiple business plans ready. If you have a development center, even if you don't need a loan from them, just go and talk to them. If you've never done like a full layout of a business plan before, having multiple options so you see what all of those options are and do all of the groundwork beforehand instead of winging it is so helpful. And taking calculated risks. And I'm never going to tell anyone to just jump. I do not want to ever leave anything up to fate when it comes to business, not when I have so much on the line and so many things to take care of. Calculated risk is the only way that I go, where I've figured out what those outcomes ultimately will be. Mistakes can be made, but at least I know if I did my due diligence behind the scenes to make sure that it was the right risk at that time, I can at least sleep a little better at night.
Wow, that's a great way to end. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I
I
really
feel like
appreciate it.
I'm XYZ brain type for this. So
Well, you're a real inspiration, and congratulations on all your success. And I hope you have much more.
thank you so much.